The spinny circle has happened. We are back for yet another Money Moves. Wendy, welcome.
Hello, hello. Getting better.
I know, right? You sound tons better than you did last week.
Yeah.
I know you've been struggling with some crud, so I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend, or see that you're on the mend and hear it. But
Yes.
big day today. Big day today.
Why is it a big day?
Episode 52.
Oh,
So
like a whole year's worth.
Yeah, we've been doing a little longer than a year, but actually officially 1 year on our YouTube channel. And so, again, if you're getting some value out of this, make sure you're showing some love and click that little subscribe button down there. But we've got some really good stuff to talk to you about. I mean, the markets over the last year, even since the beginning of the year, have been just like cray, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about who's really watching your nest egg, or even if they're watching it at all. So we're going to talk about that today. So do me a favor, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, say, hey, you've been complaining about losing money in the market. You need to get on here. Black Swan Money, we're going to get started in about 10, 15, 30 seconds. We're going to find out who's really watching your nest egg. And we're back live. I know, right? So, man, I can't believe we're already into June, and 2022 is just like blowing by. I don't know if you're getting the same. This is like, poof, and it's gone. We're almost halfway through the year, guys. So today we're going to talk about, what's really going on with your nest egg, and really what's going on with the stories you may be told, or you may understand, or what do I do? What do I do? I mean, if you've looked at your 401k lately or something like that, it's probably going down. Your IRA is probably going down. And I'm sure you're hearing some stuff. Wendy and I were just talking about that before we got on live. Really some of the stories you're hearing. I don't know. Are you hearing anything there, Wendy? You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I think Facebook sees that I'm like talking more about finances and looking more at money and things like that. So my algorithms changed.
Yeah.
I'm getting ads for different people, and see different people pop up in my feed. But pretty much, like, I would say, of all the financial people out there that I follow, about 90% of them, are trying to answer the question, what should I do since the market is declining? And they all say, don't touch it.
Mm-hmm. Don't touch it.
Ride the wave.
Ride it out, right?
The storm. Yeah.
Is that really the right answer, though? And so here's my take on it, right? Mm-hmm. And then again, just to disclose, this is for educational purposes. Every individual is different. All results are different by individual, right? So if you want an individual conversation, schedule some time with us, and we'll have an individual conversation on your specific situation. But in general, I loved the movie Titanic, right? Great movie. Big Leo fan, and I admire that band that stayed on there playing the music as the ship went down.
Yes.
I would not have been that guy.
Nope.
I would have set my violin down, and I would have been saying, scooch over, honey, there's room on this boat. Let me off. Right? That's just my 2 cents. I don't know. Wendy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, fight to live. Absolutely.
What the hell? And I've heard things too, and advisors, traditional advisors out there, they say a lot of I won't call them lies. I'll call them things. They say a lot of things to get us to buy. First of all, you need to ask yourself the question, have you even heard from your money guy or money gal, right? Have you heard from your advisor? Have they reached out to you and said, hey, I know you've lost 20% of your assets, but I still love you, and here's what we're going to do? Probably not. Maybe you have. That's great. Have you even heard of it? And those of you with an IRA or specifically a 401k, have you heard from your 401k company? Have they reached out to you and given you any kind of calming news or anything like that, or given you any kind of plan whatsoever? I'm going to bet they haven't. Mm-hmm. That's just my guess, right? And they're probably afraid to answer the phone right now if you do call them, because of everything that's going on, pure chaos. And they come back with things like, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. Set it and forget it, right? This is a long-term strategy. Yep. Okay. We've talked about that on past videos. And the one I really like, and I've even caught some of our own guys saying this, it's like, well, you don't really lose money until you sell your positions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true, but I don't really make money either until I sell those positions too. So why the hell didn't you sell when we were up?
Right.
Just a question you may want to ask, right? So I don't know. I'll get off my little condescending soapbox there, but this is the stuff that really chaps me up because we talked about it, and I was talking about it in 08, asked my own advisor at the time, who I have since fired. But it's one of those things. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this, Wendy?
Well, so pre a year ago, and learning from you, I mean, I would say, like, Jon, what am I supposed to do? Right? My money's sitting in a 401k. It's losing. I'm 10, 15, 20 years out from retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone says, leave it. What other option do I have? Because honestly, I didn't know there were other options.
Yeah. And that's,
and I'm sure most people don't, right?
They don't. Right. And that's the big concern is they don't realize that there are other options out there, even in your 401k. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, ask the question, ask us. Find out what you can do, because really a big part of it is you've got to be able to protect your assets, right? And that's why I love the group, the protected asset class that we talk about. And our company does everything. We do the 401ks, we do IRAs, we do all the above. But a portion, if not a big portion of your assets need to be in protected asset classes. They get gains, right? Good gains. I'm not talking like CDs or anything like that, but also has a hedge against market loss, right? So when the market does go down, you don't gain that year, but you don't lose your money. So what happens is when the market loses as big as it has been and what it's about to do, because we're not over yet. We're not at the bottom.
Kind of just getting started, aren't we?
Kind of, yeah. So it's like, what's that movie, Strange Love? It's an old movie, black and white. I remember that guy riding the missile down, the cowboys on an ICBM missile or whatever, riding it as it's coming towards Earth. It's woo, having a good time. That's what a lot of these advisors, I think, want you to do, is just ride it out, man. Ride it to the bottom. Just ride it to the bottom and keep buying, start dollar cost averaging and stuff like that. And I get all that. But for the average Joe and Jane on the street, here's what happens. You end up doing that. You're hoping the market comes back. And usually it does. Now, there have been some markets in the past that have never come back. Japan, for example, they never came back from their big hit back in the 80s. They've never really recaptured their glory days, so to speak. So, is that one of those situations? I don't know. But if you've got all your eggs in one basket and they're telling you to ride it out and you're just smiling like, a good little sheeple going, okay, I would raise the question and ask, are there other options out there? Cut your loss, right? And you hear that when we talk about, different things. I don't know, like I've heard attorneys say this, if you're in a lawsuit that's a no-win, if it's I forget what kind of lawsuits they call them, where why throw good money after bad? Right. Why continue to throw good money after bad? And that's really why I put more time that, cut your losses. You lost some, but overall you probably still gained. Move some money around and figure it out, because there are other options out there, right? And that's the scary thing. So I want to talk to you about what's called AUM. That's the big play in the business. Okay. So in the traditional advisory services or in advisory world, they get paid whether you make money or not. So you pay them your point and a half, 2 points, whatever the cost is. That doesn't include your 12B1 fees in the actual mutual funds, but you're going to pay Fidelity or any of these companies out there, 1%, 1.5%, maybe 2%, depending on your contract, right, of your gains. But you also pay them 1 to 2% when you lose. So really, it's not you're paying on the gains, you're paying on the balance.
Whatever's in there, yeah.
Whatever's in there. So they're making money when you're making money. But guess what? When you're losing all this money, 10, 20, 30%, 40, 50, and that's what they're talking about, folks, north of 50% losses in the next couple of years, right? You're going to end up still paying them their 1.5%, 2% or whatever you're paying them. So that's why they want to keep you in AUM, or assets under management. Okay. There are other options out there. Okay. Now, the big thing in asset under management, or AUM, there are two types. There's what's called passive money management and active money management. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, was looking at is who's watching the kitty, right? Who's really taking care of things. Now, you look at, we'll use an example. When I go on trips or whatever, I have a neighborhood kid come in and they take my dog out, feed them, water them a couple times a day, take them out a couple times a day, make sure they're good. That's an active role that they play while I'm away, right? So
Right.
think of your money in the same situation. When I've got somebody actively managing it, that means they're watching it every day, and or at least they're in there weekly, and they'll move my positions around. Maybe even move it into cash. If it looks like it's a downward trend, let's cut our losses and then move it into a cash position. Not pull it out into cash, but I mean move it into a cash position, sell your positions, so you maintain those gains, right? And then when the market goes down, then they buy back in.
I never even knew you could do that.
That's how you can make money. We do it, right? Our company does this. Or you can have passive money management. Okay. And that's what most people out there have, especially in your 401k. This passive money management.
When you click the boxes and you're like, I'm conservative or medium, and they stick you in a group and you just stay there, right?
You stay there. And maybe they do an annual checkup. Most companies don't. At least the people I've talked to, the clients I've talked to that have 401k, companies, I never heard from my 401k person. They were there when I signed up, and that was about the extent of it. And so that's called passive money management. So, they don't check it at all. You're just in there, and they may go in once a year and meet with you, and then they'll look at it then and adjust on an annual basis. But it's typically based on that little test you were still talking about. So let's go back to my dog, right? If I'm going on a 2-week vacation and I talk to the neighbor kid, and the neighbor kid, okay, yeah, Mr. John, I'll watch your dog for you. And great. And then I leave on my 2-week trip, and the kid walks in day one and pours out a 50-pound bag of dog food. Don't know what happened there. Pours out a 50-pound bag of dog food, and then leaves the toilet lid up and leaves the back door open so the dog can go out. That's not the same thing, right? The dog still got access to food and water, and the dog still has access to go to the bathroom, but it's not really what I'm looking for.
Probably going to have an issue when you get home.
I would probably have a serious issue when I got home, right? And that's what's going on with people's 401k. They think, oh, I've got XYZ company. They're taking care of it for me. I'm good, right? And that's easy when times are good. I mean, we've had some great years over the last administration, kind of the markets going up and stuff like that, right? Well, that's changed, okay? And now we're taking a massive nosedive. And folks, it's not over yet. The Fed's still talking about raising interest rates the next 2 or 3 times that they meet. So that's going to have a huge, huge havoc. Not to mention, we've got what's going on. Oh, the supply chain issue, right? Walmart's running out of stuff, folks. So when all these businesses start running out of stuff, what are they going to do? They don't need all these people. So they're going to start laying people off. And what's that going to do? That's going to impact other areas of the economy. So it's like you throw a big rock in the middle of a glass pond, right? When it's perfectly still, all of a sudden you see these ripples, and that's what's happening in the economy. And we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. You've seen inflation, you've seen the groceries, you've seen the gas stations. This is only the tip of the iceberg. And for somebody to say, hey, keep your money there, ride it all the way down, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? I've been talking the whole time, Wendy. I'm sorry. I'm a little fired up about
this. It's okay. Well, and you're more knowledgeable about this than I am. That's for sure. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's so funny because I've actually been listening to a lot of books too, and reading, and I'm taking a course just to see what's out there about investing. And like, what kind of makes me sad, John, is that most people don't know that there's other options. Like that, your company does offers different options and different solutions, and education to empower, your clients. So I can, when I'm working with you, I'm empowered to make the decision based off of true knowledge of the situation, right? Hey, here's your money. Here's what it's doing. Here's what it's going to probably continue to do. And when it turns around, here's what it's going to look like and how many years it'll take to recover. Here's another option, right? Here's a way that you can make a pivot. And here's what that looks like. But what makes me sad is that most people don't even know that that's an option. And I think even the people that are out there teaching how to invest aren't even aware of what the wealthy people are doing. Because the wealthy are not sitting their money in a 401k and watching it.
No. And they're not watching it burn up in flames. Okay, well, I'll write it out. No, that is not what's going on.
Right.
And that's the case. And that's the thing. I mean, here's the thing, everybody. Nobody is going to care about your money as much as you do. You've got one shot to build wealth, especially if you're focusing on retirement. I'm not talking just general wealth. I mean, you can build wealth, lose it, and build wealth and lose it. But if you're looking for the traditional retirement approach where, hey, I'm going to retire at 60, 65, 68, whatever, and I'm trying to build towards this, that whole write it down to the very bottom is horrible advice. And the reason I say that is because, yeah, you'll get your money back. You will. I did in 2008. But you're going to lose 5 or 6 years getting that money back. You're losing the time, and you don't have a lot of time. Okay. You've got at the most 40 years of building wealth from, the age of 25 to 65, right? Using just some rough numbers. And if you're riding that storm,
most of us didn't start at 25.
Well, exactly. Well, and that's the most case, right? So that, you look at that, okay, the market corrects. It corrected it's correcting this year. We had a little bit of a correction a couple years ago. And then we had the big 08, right? We had 01, we had 98, 92, 88. I mean, these are all, so every time that happens, you're losing a minimum of 2 to 3 years, if not 5 to 6 years. Okay. I got my money back, but you lost the time. So instead of growing for 40 years, you're only actually growing for 15 to 20. And, the lost decade from 2000 to 2010, 11, no money grew. Okay. There was no money growth, especially if you were just buying and holding and not selling when it was high and, selling when it was high and buying when it was low. Most people do exactly what they're being told to do. Don't sell, write it out. Right. So you write it down to the very bottom and you didn't sell. So you still got your one widget, right? One share of widgets. And then when it goes back up, you got your one share of widgets. You didn't really make the money. Whereas if you'd have sold high, bought low, or had protected asset classes where you never lost a dime at all. This is what's going on out there, folks. Wake up. Get with somebody that's not trying to put you into a one size fits all solution, because that's what's going on with 90% of the cases out there.
Yeah. And that what you're talking about with the protected asset classes, just, for this helped me understand that. Like, I love your analogy of the red light, green light, right? Like, so that your money's growing when it's up, but when everyone else goes down, right? Because the market's losing and you're staying here, when you start back growing again, you're above it. Right. And you talk about
you pick up right where you left off,
right? You pick up where you left off. You don't have to go back to the beginning. And, most people, again, don't know that exists. And most people that I know that are using these strategies didn't even know about these strategies until they were millionaires.
Yep, exactly. Because it's like, oh, here's the secret. Okay, now you've got
you've entered the club that you can learn how we really build.
Well, right? And I see it on Facebook and stuff like that all the time. Social media. Well, if you have $500,000 or more, we'll talk to you. If not, go fly a kite. We don't give a crap. And the people that have less than $500,000 are the ones who really need the help to get to $500,000, right? And so, what the wealthy are doing, you can apply it. I don't care if you're only making $50,000 a year. You can do the same things millionaires do, just on a smaller scale. The mechanics of it still apply. Okay. Right. But the problem is traditional advisors don't want, to share the secrets, so to speak. And I'm like, that's who.
And why not?
Because they want you to pay them that 1.5% every year in and year out, and just trust that it'll work. And I'm telling you, folks, it's time to wake up, educate yourself. We've got 52 videos to help educate you, and they're available to you for free. So click that subscribe button down below and share it with your friends. Share it with your kids. Don't let your kids go through the same struggles that you went through. So, all right, I'm going to get off the soapbox. I've talked about it. AUM, assets under management. There's passive, there's active, and there's a lot of different options out there. Educate yourself with us. Follow us, right? We're going to show you what's up. And if you've got questions on what you specifically need to do, because there is not a one size fits all, give us a call. Or not give us a call. Click, reach out to us on our social media, or type wealth into the comments below. And we'll sit down and schedule a time with you to develop your own plan. Because you're coming at it through Black Swan Money, you're going to get the plan for free, no obligation. So you got nothing to lose. Okay. So take action, grab the bull by the horns, and let's get going. So Wendy, is always great. We're here every Tuesday, Money Moves. Give us a thumbs up. Make a comment below. Let us know you're out there listening, because I know we got a lot of people watching this video, but very few comments. I want to hear from you. Okay. Yeah. I want to hear from you. So have a great week, everybody, and go out and make yours happen.